Hey YouTube, today is the May 12th, 2017, and today I find out that my friend Golden died. And this topic is about one guy for whom Golden said when he saw his picture, "That's a psychopath, get away from him." And this guy, I gonna call him Andy. He contacted me in August last year, and when I saw his pictures, I was like 100% sure that guy killed before. He's born in Illuminati, and what else? Yeah, that was pretty much all bad news. He started with the story that he was a super soldier and that he escaped the Illuminati system, which is how. But I didn't want to have a contact with him after that, and I made this update about a message to him, and no gaslighting here because I knew it's gonna be next stage. But I was intrigued. I was intrigued because I was wondering what I can hear from him as a ex Illuminati member and somebody who was in the super soldier program. And I gave him benefit of a doubt. Although my intuition was telling me when I was scanning him, I would see him only as reptilian front. So meaning that even when his front personality thinks that he's talking the truth, he's just an instrument of a real Frank Springmeyer. So you're gonna understand if you wonder what I'm talking about. And okay, then we started to contact, then we started to talk. He was very interesting to converse with, IQ very high, which is very typical for them. And he's also claiming that he's done one patent for housing material like a carpet and insulation material which is not burning, unflammable. And now this is the part with the hook. Now comes my picture from my diary. Because when I was meditating, my intuition was telling me this is only nothing is real what he's saying. It's all set up. And I could see this reptilian entity, and then Andy, and then a hook for me. And that hook was that he's gonna get shitloads of money, and that he's gonna be my supporter, and then that he appreciates my work. Okay, this is how he entered the zone with a higher appreciation and with financial help. At this moment, he has very little money. His reptilian mother is keeping him on a short leash, but he helped me with $150, which were kind of very needed last month when I had a gap in money in about 10 days, like nothing. And then his $100 came, which was very beneficial. And so this was like very, I have to admit it, very learning thing, to have a mecena who's first gonna get $10 million. I'm not gonna get into details. Then maybe a couple of $1 billion, and like wow, and this is very important with the psychopaths. They, of course, they're very intelligent, and it's not a problem to figure it out what you want, and then they're learning you with that. And he was also inviting me to the United States when he becomes a millionaire, and that's going to be very shortly, to help me out, to work for him as a secretary, whatever. And one more important thing, we've been doing meditations, more than 10 meditations over Skype, 1 hour and 10 minutes like per average, and then talked maybe like 10 or more times, couple of hours. I remember once like 5 hours, and so on. And now, so how the psychopaths are working and what are they trying to do? Psychopath is trying to break your will. He's trying to destroy you from inside by attacking your own uh, inner security, which lies into your inner security, into your sanity first. So what they're gonna do is phase number one. It's called the golden period, golden phase. Read Tudor. Uh, he's explaining that perfectly. They're of course gonna be very nice, very helpful, blah blah blah. As a friends or as a love partners, they're gonna be the best ever. They're gonna mimic everything you are. They're gonna get shitloads of information about you, what he done through this YouTube updates and our conversations. By the way, I block him on a YouTube, on a Skype, and on a Gmail, but his Gmail messages are getting to me anyway. And I just gonna have to make another little digression that since 2012 I simply cannot open my email anywhere else apart Gmail and later on Facebook again. Independent websites I simply cannot. In the like GmbH Deutschland and so on. It's simply, or any pony. It's simply not working. Okay, so this is of course I would say weird metaphysical matrix setup that although put on a spam list, his messages are getting directly into my spam, into my mailbox, and it goes opposite. When I was checking my spam box, I found the messages from my friend Kelleen from Poland slash Holland, where she's like working and living, and that's weird. So something is going on there. Anyway, his messages are coming again and again. So yeah, the attack on the self-confidence. So in second phase, first phase, getting information about you, and then second phase, which is playing with your sanity, and in third phase they're getting more aggressive, more they submit you more and more, right? If you of course allow second phase to happen. And what happened in a second phase? Two things raised like a red flag and a second red flag. And I really have to say that the final second red flag was we've been debating over Europe, and I was telling him how big problem is with the Muslims in Europe, and he was like, nah, that's all bullshit, like nothing gonna happen. And I said, do you know that London is that in London now the ethnic British white Britons are now minority in London, which was also news for me. And he was like, wow, how do you know that? I said, from the internet. Like, and then he stopped the conversation on that phone, and I sent him links, one from The Economist, and I'm gonna link, and then one from Sun, which are telling that white Britons are now 45% of London population. This is like 3-4 years ago census, or even more. And then he responded me in an email, very, very angry. And actually, I would like to read you some parts of that conversation, so you can get the idea. So he was like very confident that I bought the whole bait about money and being invited in the America, where the streets are paved with gold, of course, and blah blah blah. But this was, of course, not the case. And let me now find you some interesting parts. The first, this was like the final red flag, because if person is negating the truth, like statistical truth, and in my mind is always what Professor Yardas, our teacher who was teaching us statistics in the economics school, Hotelski Fakultet Opatija, he told us that statistics is the only science, because this one is the only exact. Everything else is like pretty, a little bit or more vague, but statistics is okay. And just an example of the third phase, putting down, came shortly after that one. My comment that my videos are form of art, because art is reflection of reality through personal. You judge like this. FYI, just for the record, I can't stand artists who are nothing but a pain in the ass! Exclamation mark. I fucking hate them! 3 dots. I have no patience for their bullshit and just want to slap the shit out of them. Don't get me wrong, I like art, I like beautiful things. Some artists make beautiful things like paintings, carvings, sculptures, etc. And some people call themselves artists, but in fact just make a big pile of bullshit and call it work of art and parade around uh, calking themselves an art, calking themselves an artist. I don't know what is calking. To me, these people, they are essentially just a huge big fucking pain in the ass, who in the end will not listen to anyone or anything, and won't be satisfied until everything around them has been burned to the ground. I have no patience for those people, like burned to the ground. Like, what? And then it popped up to me from Tudor and Golden's videos about psychopaths, how psychopaths, they hate themselves and they would like to see the whole world around them destroyed. And then I like, projecting. It's interesting. Uh, so basically, trying to put me down, like, wow, you dare to call this art? Or some videos I do. Regarding putting, don't know even give a shit because you have everything figured out and you're going to do what are you going to do regardless, as it is your art. What the fuck, right? So yeah, that's right, that's my art and you're now watching it, bitch. Yeah, that's it. And but I thought I would share my thoughts. So now, of course, you are going to break into a lecture of how everything else is wrong and quote some kind of data you have gotten off the internet. Yeah, the one from The Economist. And in the endless battle to show that everyone else is wrong and you are right. Yeah, that's it. And so he took some time to get into the gaslighting. Gaslighting is the psychopath's technique when he's basically like in that movie with Ingmar Bergman, when psychopath is trying to make you disbelieve in your senses. He does something, and then you done this and that, and then he goes, so you're just overreacting, like, or or like those some not these updates, but some little things you're doing. You call that art, you're fucking pain in the ass, and so on. And there was one even better example, but uh, how to wrap up this story with him? I mean, there is more to it. Yeah, the when he started to spin around my mental sanity, and this is interesting point. So we've been talking about what he's gonna do when he gets he was like even $10 billion. I said, well, that beautiful house you plan to buy, I would definitely make atomic shelter and get enough food, water, ammo, and weaponry for, let's say, 1 year of troubles, and even a big fence just in case of the zombie invasion. Because if you really guys want to know, they do also play with that virus, and they've been testing it in Africa. It's possible. And if a guy has like billions, why not invest like 10, 20 million in basic security? So he took all that and started to that he doesn't want me in New Jersey anymore because he's now worried about my psychic, about my mental stability, right? And I was like, I mean, let me tell you one thing, two things first. First thing is rich people everywhere are doing underground shelters and prepping for something very big. This is nothing new. Governments are doing the same thing, okay? This is how I'm thinking about these things. But second thing I really want to tell you is when I was 16 in Croatia in 1991, when shit hit the fan, when we had the war, and this was like the worst year of the war. War lasted 91, 95, 16. I was 16, 91, 20, 95. But I was not in the war. However, I was in the shelters. And I remember we as a kids, one city was bombarded by the MiG-29, but he was just hitting the industrial zone where one factory, Benčić, was doing mortar shells, for the mortars, right? And I remember once being sent from school with a special bus because some MiGs been going our way, and I remember Yugoslav ships blocking harbor of Rijeka, and this completely destroyed the harbor economy for a while. And when I was a kid, we've been honestly really deeply debating who has what kind of shelter because we had lots of refugees. My father's village was overrun by Serbs in Dalmatia, and people been killed point blank. My mother's town was overrun by Muslims, and they've been parading with decapitated Croatian hands. So my cousin's been spending shitloads of time in shelters, like many people, and of course we've been debating about that a lot. You know, as a kids, a lot. This was part of my life. And I remember in a classroom, the coolest guy was Dominic Damish because he lived in one big skyscraper and that one had atomic shelter. That was like, wow, it can't be cooler than that. And so this is the way I think. I think in a way as my Croatian history is teaching me. We had like wars per average every 20 years in our history. And so do I really have to tell you anything more than that? You simply calculate a shelter as a part of the equation if you have money, like the very first thing. And then after that, water and food and ammo and weaponry and medical kits and supplies, Yeah, it's just... I don't know. That's like installing electricity in a house. Same thing. If you have money, you go for these things, and that's it. And he used that as a spin against me, and I was like, and like, yeah, and the bait, like, hey, you're not gonna come to New Jersey. You don't wanna come to New Jersey, and I have concerns. Like, okay, I would rather stay with my in a tent with my cat, really, than to live in a castle with you, really, because it's just so much nicer to be away from you. So, and I didn't really regret after I quit phoning him. I immediately started to sleep nice like a baby, wake up in the morning, and so on. So, yeah, you guys, take care of the psychopathic friends. They gonna enter in your life very sweet, offer you things, and then after that they just gonna start twisting and twisting and twisting, and then they're gonna start being more and more aggressive. And I'm lucky that I don't have this guy in a 3D in front of me, because I think he's like very big and very strong and so on. He also was in the prison, and you know about 10 years serious, and yeah, so so next time, I mean, to this one I gave benefit of a doubt, but next time no more benefit of a doubt. Honestly, what intuition tells me, this is it. This is it.